Artistic Gamer 7, and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build here on the channel. This one, as you can probably tell, is having a mermaid theme. It is in Sulani, so I hope you're looking forward to this build. If you are, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss any other future builds in the future. But anyway, let's get on to talking about the Anyway, let's get to the build. So first off, before it's like heading into any of my thought process during this, if at any point in time my voice seems to like start like acting weird, it's because I was having like my throat was getting dry when I was doing a voiceover right before this. And then that said voiceover was actually for this video, and then I went to go in and actually edit the video and add, well, not edit the video, but add the voiceover to said video. And the issue that I had happened for my first episode of Alola Sulani, where not all of the audio was for some reason captured. This is the first time that I've been running into this issue. And this is the second time that it's happened, and I'm a little nervous because I've recorded quite a few episodes in between Alola Sulani 1 and also this voiceover. So I'm really hoping when I go into editing that more of them are not messed up. I already think I found one that is, and it's another Alola Sulani episode. So I'm going to have to go check that out and see if there's any way that I can salvage or fix it or something. I don't know what is happening, but it seems to mainly be happening when I change, in my Elgato I can change like the, like settings or like the, words, like, the scenes or whatever. I feel like most of the times that I've switched the scenes because I recorded like something else where I needed to move my webcam or I needed to take my webcam off. So I don't know if there's something glitching in that, but like I said, I've never had this issue before. So I'm really hoping that this doesn't continue or I can figure out a way around it so I can fix it. I'm gonna dive deep into some of the folders and stuff that my Elgato automatically makes on its own. Not even the ones that I tell it to process out. It actually just has some chilling, so I'm gonna go look through those like extra hard this time around and actually see if there is some way that I can still find the audio files, even though last time I tried looking and I didn't think I seen them. But I'm gonna go dive even further, but for now I'm just making a new voiceover for this video. But so let's get on to the actual build here. Now, if you noticed the title of this video, this is Mermaid's Hideaway. Basically, though I've played the mermaid, like some mermaids a little bit off camera when not recording. I haven't played them too much because I don't want to explore too many of the things dealing with the mermaids until like maybe I can show it off a little bit more in like actually recording for Alola Sulani. So I haven't done like necessarily like a whole lot, but I have played them a little bit, and like from what I've heard and the few things I've seen here and there when I'm not playing, I have come to realize I'm pretty sure there is no like little secret lot for you to actually go see, like with like Sixum and what is the other two? They actually were base game, but I can't remember what they were off the top of my head. Also, Granite Falls, I think. Did Granite Falls technically have a secret lot? I think it did. So, like, there for a while there, a lot of them had secret lots. Like, secret lots were, like, a thing. And I actually really like those. The fact that you actually technically can build on those secret lots with the cheat also wasn't, like, you know, like, didn't make it seem like such a horrible thing, even though in some degrees I wish I could live on some of those worlds. Like, if I can actually have my aliens living on Sixum, and like actually go and visit them on Sixum and play them actually on Sixum, that would be so cool. But at the same time, I still really liked actually just having those worlds to go visit and having them like be there. So, and the fact that I'm pretty sure there is none for this world for like the mermaids to be like that's where you find mermaids or that's where they hang out a lot. sort of was disappointing. So this is sort of my little creation of making a lot secret, not really secret, but sort of secret. I'm imagining it's secret. Lot for my mermaids for my game. So this is the Mermaid's Hideaway. Basically the thoughts behind it was like, this is where mermaids who don't necessarily want to just solely live in the ocean can come and live and hang out. You know, after a while, maybe if they decide to go back to living mainly in the ocean, they can leave and other mermaids can move in. But that's sort of what this, it's like a community lot for mermaids, and this is where they come and hang out and chill and try to live a semi-normal sim life with their little secret of being mermaids. So I definitely tried to make sure it looked like a little bit more on the magical fantasy side, really pretty, but still have like those island touches here and there, and also have things that suited a mermaid. Obviously at this point you can tell that I'm building with the live edit objects on, so this was my first like building right after it, and I went like heavy with the objects in that mode. It was pretty hard trying to find some of them, and in some I cut some of the things out, but sometimes you'll see me just picking up stuff just to see what it actually was, because I was like, what is this? What is this? And what is this? I do edit quite a bit of it out, but not all of it, so don't be surprised if you notice me just picking up random items that would make no sense to be put in here, but I'm still like looking at it to see what it looks like. So this was the first, like, my first go of looking through those, and immediately, like, I was seeing, like, some, like, people, like, just, like, some videos where they just basically went through the objects. They didn't even build anything. They just went through the objects to look at them and give their opinions and stuff on them and, like, things like that. And I was seeing a bunch of these different rocks, a lot of the rocks that were, like, from around Sulani and Jungle Adventure and all those things, like, able to use, and I immediately was like, I can make, like, use these rocks to make a formation and hide a little section inside the rock formation for my Sims, and I immediately wanted to do that for my mermaids. So this is, you know, it's hidden, but it's still there as a part of a lot, and they can go here. So this is in, obviously, Sulani. This is near the cave that you can go and explore. I think the original lot was called, like, Admiral's Wreck or something. It had that little wreck shipyard on it. I did not personally have a use for it, and the off-the-grid trait was on it, which I don't mind having the off-the-grid trait, and I'm really glad that they included it, especially since a lot of people really actually wanted something like that, and it actually would help anyone who was trying to do like a Rags to Riches challenge or anything like that, or anyone who just wanted to have a sim that fit that storyline. That being said, most of my Sims I did not need that storyline for. I think at some point I am going to try to do a Rags to Riches challenge, and I think I want to eventually like choose one of the children or grandchildren of the Eevee family members, so to do that challenge with, but as of right now I'm not sure who I would do it with. I would try to make it make sense story-wise, like a reason why they decided to go like sort of off the grid or whatever. So when that storyline pops up in that story, then I will do so, but otherwise I don't really have a use for the off the grid. I like my Sims being able to use their electronics, and also having lighting, though I do like candles and stuff like that. I think they're really pretty. I don't necessarily want to rely on them on lighting, and just, you know, my story, my Sim stories wise, it wouldn't necessarily fit. So that's just, you know, me personally. So I did take that light trait off. Now, really quickly before I forget, since I see this happening on the screen, I use that little cave from, like, vampires. It's vampires, and it is in the live edit objects cheat, obviously. Like I said, a lot of this, especially towards the beginning half of the video, is from that. I put that there because I specifically wanted to try to make it look like there was, like, a hole or something somewhere for water to be coming from naturally. So I purposely made it this really odd shape. I actually eventually put some plants and stuff around it. I'm putting coral reefs down inside of it because I wanted this to seem like this was actually a naturally occurring place. Like this was a natural, like the land was shaped like this. The water was here. The mermaids just found this area and they've like sort of made it into like their own little secret oasis that they can come stay and still sort of be connected to island life, but also be able to still be close and connected to the ocean, and they can still feel free to have their mermaid tails out and not be concerned about prying eyes, because the mermaids definitely seem like they sort of want to keep it secret that whether or not they are mermaids to some degree. I get that in other degrees. I've recently had like I've noticed that this, no matter what, they don't admit to it, so I don't know if there's something I can do to make them admit to it. I feel like if you become so close friends with them or something that, or if they are physically in their mermaid form while you're talking to them, that they should admit to it. But otherwise, but you know, anyway, they don't. So you know, I get it. They're trying to keep it a secret. So this is basically their little area that they're still like on the island. They can go interact with other normal Sims that are out there and stuff, but they still have an area that they can go and be themselves. So this little, it's a pool, but again, I'm not imagining it's an actual pool. I'm imagining it's like naturally there. They've probably added some rocks around it just to give it more of a defined edge. There's some grass, like greenery growing around it because it is supposed to be like a little actual natural thing happening. But the cave thing, looking like thing that I use from vampires is to show off, like, that's supposed to meant to be like the hole that is connected to the ocean, so that goes to like an underground cave system somewhere that is connected to the ocean, and that's actually salt water right there, which they're not too far from the ocean. I thought this lot was the perfect lot to build this like theme of being like a mermaid's hideaway. It's on the island that there's not many house lots on, so you know, not too many people are like necessarily around here too often. But it's really close to the ocean. It's got that cave right beside it, which does, from what little bit of it I've played through so far, I can tell definitely has some mysterious mermaidish vibes going on with it. So in between all those different things, I thought this lot literally was the most perfect lot for this, and it was big enough that I could actually execute it as well. Now, as you can see, there are all these different huts. I will let you know there are basements. I cut out putting the basements down, but there are basements underneath them because though they do spend a lot of the time outside, they're in the water, they're it's a communal sort of mermaid thing, so they're all like, you know, out there together, and they're still trying to go out and communicate with others and things, so they're not necessarily fully in their house all the time, but they're also wanting to sort of have that normal sim life, so they want them to still look somewhat like a actual house. So they have a kitchen, they have a living space, they have a bathroom and a bedroom, all jammed into that little hut. There is, like I said, a basement to like sort of help with that, but they're still very tiny. That was a little bit of a struggle actually trying to get everything to fit in the huts, but to be honest with you, the huts wasn't something that I was really focusing on during this build. I do try to give it some personality by doing different colors. I even changed the door colorings eventually for different huts and like have different styles. Some of them have the basement on the upper level, some of them on the bottom level, some of them have like technically room to fit like a second bedroom in, or they have two bedrooms in the same space but they're divided by something. Like, they're all different and they sort of have their own personality, but I didn't go hardcore with the decorations like I do sometimes, or like I mean to. Sometimes I forget the wall decorations. This time I sort of did it on purpose. I did do wall decorations a little bit here and there, but because my mermaid sims wouldn't necessarily be focusing themselves in that house, like in these huts, like they were there to live in and get that house experience, but at the same time, actually, they wouldn't be in there too often. So I purposely didn't go like hardcore on the decorations on the inside of the huts. I definitely focused more on the outside. I wanted the outside to have a magical, natural feel to it and be like really breathtaking, but also like fun. And I definitely ended up really loving the outcome of this build. This is probably one of the builds that I've like been like super, super happy with. Like, I'm proud of most of my builds, and I'm not trying to sound like gloating about myself. It's more of the fact that I feel like I've come a long way since I started building, and that each build that I've done, I have something new that I've tried, or it's a little bit differently. There's always something about it that I was really happy about. But this one was definitely a stretch from my usual, with the fact that each living space was so small, and actually focusing more on the outside, and I actually did a lot with the terrain tools, and it actually looks good, like the terrain tools look natural, because sometimes it's really hard to make the terrain tools actually look like they fit naturally in the world, but with the rock facings all around surrounding this place, it actually ended up looking really, really good. And the terrain tools actually worked in my favor in this particular build, so all in all, there was many things that made me really happy with this build, and it definitely got the look that I was going for. And when I was taking the screenshots, I was just so happy with it on the outside. Again, the huts, I was like, the huts are the huts. Like, they wasn't the main focus. They were there because that's where my Sims are going to sort of stay. You can, I think, like, after I built this build, I went and made a few more Sims to actually live here. I already had 2 Sims that I for sure was going to have live, well, technically 3 Sims. 2 of them you would have probably by now already seen in my Alola Sulani. I just combined the 2 words. Let's Play. And the other one may or may not have already been shown on the channel through a cast. I'm really excited to show this build, so this build actually may end up coming out before that cast. But one of the huts I did sort of design having those Sims in mind for them, and then the other ones I just sort of went with a general description, but then I ended up making Sims after this build. So, I think by the time this build was finished, this build only took me a little over 4 hours, which 4 hours is a bit, but at the same time for me, that's actually pretty quick, especially considering the size of the lot. So I was like, yeah, I got this done quicker than I thought I would have with all the stuff that I was planning on, and like how I was doing it, and the fact that I was looking through the live edit objects for the first time. So I pretty quickly, but the fact that I did that and then also made some Sims, and I had a few issues afterwards. I actually probably didn't go to bed till like after 3 a.m. for this, and the fact that I actually have 2 jobs is I've gotten into the habit of like going to bed by like 10-ish, 10 something, 10:30, and then falling asleep by 11:30. So the fact that I was up till 3 a.m. was weird for me at this point, but I was enjoying this build, and I was enjoying actually putting the Sims in here. I also actually tested this lot, because the fact that I was doing a lot of things that I hadn't done before, and the terrain tools was a little bit crazier than I usually do, and like I had all these like live edit objects, I wanted to test it before I put it on the gallery. And I actually did run into some problems. Again, that's also part of the reason why I was up until 3 a.m. I was playtesting this, and one of the issues you may not actually have in your, like, if you download this, because this build will be up on the gallery, but I'll get to that here in a moment. But if you do end up downloading this in your own save, like to put in your own game, it may not be an issue you occur, but I'm going to mention it anyway just in case it does happen, or if it ever happens to any of your builds. Maybe this is an issue that, like, if it arises, you have a solution you can try. But basically, my Sims, when they got onto the lot, they couldn't go inside the little huts, the houses, and like, I even had a welcome wagon come. They knocked on the door. They were going in and out of the huts just perfectly fine. But when I would try to go towards the hut, they would disappear. You know, like if you're like visiting a lot and you haven't knocked on the door yet, like you can see inside of it from a distance through the windows, but the closer you get to it, the whole building sort of just disappears. That was what was happening. But when I would click on the doors, it would say, would you like to lock it? Instead of like knock on the door. I went to Twitter, and I actually had some help from someone who had like a similar issue arise, and they's like, try this and see if it works. I hope it does. And then I went and visited another lot. They didn't say knock on the other door. They just basically said to visit another lot and go back. But just as a little extra precautionary measure, I was like, maybe I just need to get my Sims to knock on a door, and it will register that they've knocked on a door and that you can physically now go inside the lot. So I basically made them go visit another lot, knocked on the door, was allowed in, and then I immediately left and went back to the home lot, and the issue was then fixed. I could actually go in and see inside the huts. Again, that may have just been something that happened at that point in time in my game to glitch it out, and it won't happen in yours. But if it does, even if it's not even on my own build, that's something you can try. Just go and visit another lot, and then come back to your regular lot. So, but yeah, that was one of the issues. The other issues was that actually at the beginning of it, my Sims couldn't get in. I was thinking, because a lot of the show hidden objects, especially the bigger objects, they only have like a 1 or 2 grid tile that they take up. So I didn't think that it actually was going to like cause issues. In fact, at one point in time, I was thinking of putting a fence all the way around the lot underneath the rock, so you wouldn't see the fence, but the fence would be there to keep out Sims from just randomly walking into it, especially Sims that did not live on the lot. Because I wanted this lot to literally be more like a secretive lot, like you'd have to get to know the Sims that lived here for them to invite you, or have a really nosy Sim, like story-wise, to play with it. So I didn't want it to be necessarily easy to get into the lot, but I didn't want it to be so hard that you have to use teleport. And not everyone puts mods in their game, therefore not everyone will technically have access to just randomly teleport any Sim. But I think it's MCC that allows me to enable that option. I think. I could be wrong. That may just be part of the pose player thing, but I think the pose player is specific, like the teleport, you have to use that statue, but I could be wrong. I've had both of those mods so long that I may be confusing them. Either way, if you don't use those mods, or you just don't use mods in general, you wouldn't be able to have the teleport option unless they worked on their yoga skill or their wellness skill and got it to level 10. So I was trying to keep that in mind. I was like, I need it to be open so that no matter who is playing this lot, that they can actually get their Sims to go in it. And it was that archway, the grid is actually like all the way, like there's no grids missing on it. So I had to move that one. So the version that's going to be on the gallery is the version that you'll see in screenshots, and also a slightly different version than what you'll see like through the building process of the build. And it's honestly not a huge change. I basically just had to keep moving that archway a little bit, like angling it and also moving it over so that a gap would form, and I filled that gap in with some like foliage and stuff like that the Sims can still walk through. Like I said, I was testing it out, so I was constantly like moving the archway a little bit, trying to make my Sim go in. If they wouldn't go in, I'd move the arch a little bit more, and then eventually once they were able to go in, I put greenery there and then made sure that they can still walk in and out through the greenery. So technically they'll walk through greenery and a rock, so it looks like they're glitching in through it, but that's perfectly fine. That's the one way they can get in. So the version on the gallery will be the version that your Sims can physically walk into. But the screenshots should be coming up soon, so just keep an eye out for those. I'm going to continue to talk, though. So those are things just to keep in mind when you do download this. But it is going to be up on the gallery. My gallery ID is ArtisticGamer7. If you would like to go download this, it's going to be called the Mermaid's Hideaway. I will admit the gallery picture for this does not look good. And the fact that I can't change the angle or change the picture necessarily means that it's just not going to look the way that, because the way the angle it takes it, you just mainly see the rocks. So just keep that in mind, that when you're looking, if you go to look for it, it's not probably going to look like you expected. It's just going to be a bunch of rocks. So just look for the name Mermaid's Hideaway, and that will be the lot that you want to download. Let me know down in the comments below if you like this build, what's your favorite part of this build, and things like that. Do you think I sort of got the feel of being like a mermaid's oasis, to where they can sort of be a part of the island life, but also still like have the necessary things they need as a mermaid, and still sort of keep a little bit hidden from the public eye? Those vines that I put on the archway, that's basically what I'm imagining in my head, that they move those vines back, walk in, and then move them back to hide the place again. So that's sort of how they get in. Obviously Sims, like I said, they actually walk through a rock, but in my head they go through those vines. Also, just as a little reminder or whatever, this video is going to come out before the video that I mentioned it in, because I mentioned it in one of the Ololo Sulani videos that I recorded right before I actually built this. But if you want me to actually play some of the families that I made for in the background of Ola Sulani, like dedicate certain like episodes here and there to them, because I actually like have unique things that I've added like in my head, like story-wise, to each one of those families, that it's a little bit different, and like with using like the island life and stuff like that. So I thought it would actually be really fun to actually just go and see like those families. So it'd be like Hideaway's family, Lana's, Mallow's, Sophocles, Professor Kiwi's, and my little mermaid gang here. So if you would like for me to dedicate a few episodes of Alola Sulani to visiting them in one episode, like actually playing as those families, let me know down in the comments below, and let me know on any of my Alola Sulani videos, just to keep reminding me, like, yeah, I would actually really love to see these other households be played and see how they function in a Sulani. So, that's just something to keep in mind. I am going to have my Sims 4 build playlist down in the description below, so if you want to go see any of the other builds I've done here on the channel, you can easily click that to go see it. I will also have my Alola Sulani playlist, so you can go and start watching that series if you're not already, so that you can possibly see this, because this is in my main world already. I built it mainly in the ideas of using it in my main world, and eventually I want Lily or Gowden to go here and actually see it, like, in the story-wise, but story-wise, that hasn't popped up yet, and I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna do it just yet, but I do want it to be like a thing in their story to actually come visit here. So you can see that playlist down below. There's also going to be all my other, like, most of my other Sims 4 playlists. I've started taking out, like, 4 Immortal Sisters and stuff like that, the ones that I'm not keeping up with anymore. So I've taken those out of the description, starting taking those out of description, so those won't be down there, but any of my current ongoing ones, they're going to be down there. So that you could go and watch those as well. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the little notification bell, all that lovely YouTube goodiness. Let me know, like, some things that you're maybe looking forward to on the channel, what some other build ideas maybe that you would like for me to see me try. If you end up downloading this and playing with some of your mermaids in this lot and making like a little mermaid community, I would love to go and see, I would like love to see like maybe some screenshots of that, so definitely feel free to send me some screenshots through Twitter. All of my social medias are down in the description below as well, that you can go follow me on. I would love to see how your mermaids enjoy this little mermaid hideaway as well. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you enjoyed the lot, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!